Welcome to the Best of US Platinum Swing Trading video today. Today with me is Drew and Mark is the genius behind the swing trading strategy. And today we're going to hit upon a couple of the items on the different lists that we provide. And I know Drew's just got some incredible questions today, so let's get to it. So Mark, I'll turn it over to you.
Mark, I just wanted to have a quick question. I think a lot of people have the same questions, but when the market goes up, the S&P 500 goes up, a lot of individual stocks goes up as well, and people are excited because the stock is going up and people are making money. Is this the time when you look at stocks to make these swing trades, or is it the opposite where there's a pullback, like, these couple weeks and the market goes down? Is that when you kind of focus on the individual stocks to find, companies that are, set up for good trades? And do you like have a list of stocks that, dumped, or, your own list that you keep an eye on?
Well, we have our trading plan, and that has 11 aspects. And one of the aspects of the trading plan is we're looking for stocks with price action meltdowns, basically, or I call them the dumpster list. And the reason that we want stocks that are that low that fall off the cliff, and we saw a bunch of them, just with earnings seasons, that's another one of the rules is get out before earnings season or before earnings announcements, because you can get crushed, and we'll go over a stock later. But I look for stocks, eventually that have taken a big dumpster dive, and I put them on I call on my dumpster list, and then I'll watch them every day. And as they come back and start to swing up a little bit, and they start to trigger past some of our moving averages, and maybe some of our oscillators are turning around, it'll move up to our under the 200 list. And if you want to trade on the under 200 list, it's a lot more risky, but some people have a higher risk tolerance than I do. And you can. Eventually, we hope that as the price action moves, it moves up onto our horizon list, which has a majority of our trading guidelines, oscillators, and SMAs covered. And if you want to trade on that list, it's not financial advice. Based on your risk tolerance, the possibilities there. Your risk reward is your risk is less than on the under 200 list. Your reward is less also. It's based on how much we have left on the top, and when they get to the watch list, that normally means that they meet just about every criteria on our 11 point trading guidelines. So yeah, I look for them. We put them on the list so people can see them. Whether they want to trade them or not is up to them, but always have a trading plan and follow your trading plan and know why you get into a stock, and always set a stop limit so you get out of a stock, because the worst thing you can do is get into stock and get so far behind, and that's what ruins your entire swing trading process.
Right. Can you actually share some of your dumpster stocks so we have a better idea on what you just said?
Sure. Luckily, we have a bunch of them because we saw what happened after earnings. And again, this is ResMed Inc. RMD. Okay, it's on what I call my dumpster list. I just got on it, within the last week. You see that the price action was trending right along up and above the 200, the 9, and then all of a sudden earnings hit. The next day, dumpster fire happened. Continued down, but here's what we saw. It started bouncing for 4 or 5 days off its intermediate term support level. You see today, price action starting to pop back up a little bit. Our 9-day is screaming down towards price action. We're starting to see a curve over the Bollinger Band. We're starting to see the MACD come back. Okay, so this is what we would call, we're getting ready to start cooking. We just haven't lit the fire yet. But if we see this start moving back around, get above the 9-day moving average, start to see the MACD get closer to the signal line, get some more momentum higher towards the 50 on the RSI. There'll be some point this will turn around, and it'll probably be put on the under 500 list. And you'll see that on the Platinum channel. And as it keeps moving, let's just say it moves up, and we have resistance level here where we'll find sell orders. If we can get past that, we'll see that the next resistance line will be probably the 20, and then the 50, It'll move up to our horizon list and eventually on our watch list. So the stocks move back and forth across the horizon of our list from the dumpster list to the under 200 list to the horizon list to the watch list, and then they go right back down and they do the same thing. So I'm watching for this pattern. Now, would I get into this stock at this point? I wouldn't personally. Someone else may say, well, it's bouncing off support. I believe it's going to be that way. They may take a risk. That's not something I do, but that's why we don't tell people where to get in or get out. We just show them trading plans. We teach them about moving averages, and we teach them about support and resistance lines.
Hey, Mark, I was looking at some stocks and was wondering what your thoughts were on Moderna.
Oh, sure. Let's take a look at Moderna and see what's going on there. Okay, this is pretty similar to what we just saw in RMD. You can see that price action was moving, sideways basically between the Bollinger Bands. Just got up a bit. It was above the 9, got above the 50. Then we started this slow trend down, got under the 9, followed the lower Bollinger Band. Earnings came out, did another dump. Then look what happened. It hits the intermediate support level, and for 4 or 5 days just goes sideways. We're starting to see where the MACD came down, and then when we started going sideways, now you're seeing the MACD get closer to the signal line. We still need a little more strength on the RSI because we're only at 25. And we also see the stochastic has just crossed over, which is kind of an indicator that I use to tell me that at some point the MACD will probably be crossing over. So again, you're going to have some resistance here where we see some sell orders, but it's been really strongly holding on to this support level. If this can turn around, get above the 9, start showing us some support or some green down here in our oscillators, this will probably go into the under 200 list and then progress up or stay where it's at based on where the price action goes. So again, this is not something I would get in at this time, but it's certainly on a list to watch, basically because we have this nice support level down here, and we'll watch to see if it goes back up.
A lot of stocks last week look like they got just brought down to these intermediate support levels. And so I assume your dumpster list expanded over the weekend, pretty rapid, pretty sizable.
Yeah, I mean it's really it's different. This week on Monday I was really struggling to find anything to put on the watch list, which is stocks that meet all our criteria. In fact, I didn't even put it on because sometimes in swing trading you got to be patient. You sit out. You don't force your trades. You force your trades. You make mistakes. Today we didn't make any, and we've done that before. We've gone days, almost a week, without making a trade, and that's what you got to get used to and get it into your mind that I don't have to be in the market every day, and if I miss something, I miss it, but I didn't lose money either. And the whole key, from my point of view, is not to lose money. Like last week, there was quite a few things that happened in stocks, and that we could have actually prevented had people been trading using our trading guidelines, such as a super microcomputer. I don't know how that went down quite a bit. It's not something I follow, but I think it got hit with earnings and dropped down pretty much quite a bit, didn't it? I mean,
it
from
did.
what I understand. We can go take a look at the chart, and
Okay.
I'll show you what our trading system would have done to help you out here. Okay, so here's SMCI, super microcomputer, and I'm just going to back it out 2 years just to give you can see what's happened here. Super microcomputer got in on that AI, okay, and just took off like a rocket. Down here we're at $98, and we just hit over 338. And you can see we had some earnings issues here. Let's go back and get a little closer. So the way that we trade, we have a trading plan, and we have rules, and you can go on the Platinum channel and see our rules. But as I'm looking at price action here, you can see we're trading right along the 20. It gets up here above the 9-day moving average, which is one of our triggers. However, I look down here and the MACD is still below its signal line. So we would have waited basically, or I would have waited until about this point where the MACD crossed over. You can see 15 over there. 1631, 1524. And this is the point where we would have gotten in on a swing trade. And at this point, um, the price is $269.93, and that was on the 10th of July. Now we continue to ride this up. It's above the 9. The MACD is above this the signal line. We have a nice RSI. We have a nice flat stochastic. Continue to run this all the way up until this day right here, which is the 7th of August. Okay, because earnings come out, and one of the rules that I have is get out of your stock before earnings, because a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times your stock price action will dump, and you don't want to be in a swing trade when it dumps. This is not investing, this is swing trading. So we would have gotten out about this point here, and that would have been at $353.29. So we would have made $83.36 to trade, or a share, from this point to this point. We would have got out, and then you see what happened. The stock dumped. So if we were still in this today and we didn't get out of that, we would be down $83.83 from where we got out. We would have lost that money right back down. Here's where we got in. We would still be down before our price. So what this did, it allowed us to ride up, take our profits before it dumped, and get out and have a nice weekend, basically. So that's the power of swing trading. A lot of people who are in buy and hold can use this same kind of system to determine when to get in or when to get out on a longer term, and we can teach that coming up in the near future on how you do that. But on swing trades, we want to make sure we take our profits, make sure we know our risk, make sure we know our risk reward. And at this point, the risk was too high for the reward, and we got out. We would have gotten out, and it made a big difference in your profits.
I think one of the biggest things about this is that earnings report. And if you had exited the day before, you'd have made a lot of money. And
Yep,
I think that's one thing that people don't have a checklist on what to look for when it comes to their trades. Not just, the indicators or momentum of the stock or what have you, but also stuff like earnings. And are they supposed to do a product release like Apple does product releases in September? If they're duds, that can hurt you. So being aware of those kind of things, I think, is very important.
Yeah, and that's a market condition. But the nice thing about that market condition is it's coming. Now you don't particularly know if the stock's going to go up or down based on earnings, and sometimes they go up, but that's okay because I've already made my money. If it goes up more, it goes up. I'm a swing trader. Okay, dividends are the same way for a swing trader. When you come up to a dividend, you know that the stock price is going to go down. Because they're going to take the dividend out of the stock price. It's going to fall by that much. So you get out at that point too. Other things that you look for, maybe it's a Fed meeting, that you want to be careful of. Those things of market conditions. It's the things that you don't know that can come and get you too, Trent. Like I'm sure you've been burned by, you got a nice stock, it's running up, and then someone comes out, an analyst comes out and downgrades your stock, and all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, what happened to my stock? And so that's a market condition that we have no clues coming. That's like more of a black swan, and that can wipe you out too. And there's really nothing a chart can tell you about that.
That's true. And I think it's just keeping an eye on news, especially, I think it was last night, Tesla came out. They're lowering their prices on their was it Tesla Y, I think is the Model Y.
YN3.
YN3 in China.
In China.
Yeah, and I believe the stock actually went down on some of the news. But those things you just don't know.
Yeah, and as a trader or an investor, you must keep up with market conditions, such as Fitch downgrading banks last week, such as the situation that's going on in the property area of China, and they're not making bond payments now. That's bad news. Okay, just things like that you need to keep aware of. Those are market conditions, and those may or may not, keep you in or out of the market based on your risk tolerance.
And that's one thing on our website where you can see we have a link to Seeking Alpha's news channel, and you can see the latest news stories as well. So it keeps you in the loop, and it's important, especially if you're trading or swing trading stocks.
Right. And in Platinum, we put out the morning update,
Yep.
which are things that are important to me that I look at, may not
Mhm.
be to anyone else, but these are things I look at. And then at the end of the day, I try to put out just a summary of, where the market was with the charts.
Well, all right. We'll sum it up there. Looks like it's going to be an interesting week, and see if we maybe some volatility will subside a little bit and market will move higher. Who knows? But like we've seen here recently, it can go any direction for sure.
Yeah. Just
So
be patient and let the market come to you. Don't try to push the market.
don't fight the river.
Don't
The
fight. That's
river
exactly
always
right.
wins.
That's
Yep.
right.
All right. So hit the subscribe button and hit the like button on this video. We'd really appreciate it. And come over to bestofusinvestors.com and check out the offerings we have. And we look forward to talking with you soon. Take care.